Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
The McDonald's Snack Wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch Snack Wrap. Spicy Snack Wrap. You broke the internet for a snack. Snack Wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Since 1932, the character of Conan the Barbarian has graced the pages of novels and comic books, entered homes through TV screens, and been adapted for cinema. Can Jason Momoa make this Cimmerian sizzle, or will he put the boar in Hyborian? Find out as we see if 2011's Conan the Barbarian is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies, and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Hello to all of our listeners in Collierville, Tennessee, and around the world. How you guys doing? So once again, I'm on my geek horse. I am on that comfortable seat atop Geek Mountain, because we're talking about the remake to a film, or at least the reboot of a film, to a long-lasting property that is Conan the Barbarian. And here to join us for this one, Matt Larder's back on the show. Matt, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing so well. Thanks so much for having me on again. It's a lot of fun. I'm really glad to be back.
Okay, so the last time you were on the show, you went down Robot Jock's Road and clearly survived. So congratulations on your survival rate so far at 100%. I threw another one at you here. This was 2011's Conan the Barbarian. This was on my target list for a bit. Had you ever seen this film before actually studying for this episode?
No, I hadn't seen it before, and I hadn't seen the original either. I know of them. I know a little bit about the backstory, but I went into this one pretty blind, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I have never actually seen all the way through the original Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Barbarian, nor Conan the Destroyer. I haven't even watched in its entirety the Red Sonja with Bridget Nielsen that came out of all those Conan films. Didn't do it, didn't watch it. But this one I saw this one in the theaters as it came out in 3D, wearing the stupid glasses that you had to wear in the theater at the time. I did that. I was that guy. And I do have a number of Conan books here in my little home studio that's just waiting to be read. So I know my Conan. And I still remember too actually watching the Conan the Barbarian animated series because I was that geek. But what we're going to do is we're going to take on this reboot starring Jason Momoa. We're going to take the 2011 Conan the Barbarian and trailerize it.
Before he took Aquaman and turned him metal. Before he tried to play a hot garbage man and turned it into hot garbage. Jason Momoa was Conan. Born in battle. Bred as a warrior. Bent on revenge. He'll snarl, growl, and see through a script that feels less like a literary adaptation and more like a series of video game cutscenes. After a man named Zim invades his village and completes his model kit magic mask, Conan must track him down save a pureblood princess, and avenge his father. It's a film that will simultaneously revive and then rebury a franchise right before its 80th birthday. Worst gift ever. Jason Momoa is Conan the Barbarian. Rated R for Ron. But that's Mr. Perlman to you.
Oh, those are great. Those are great. Those are so much fun.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, to think the career trajectory of Jason Momoa. This is kind of in the middle, right? Now you think it's like, oh yeah, it's Aquaman, and he's also in Minecraft, and he was in the Fast and the Furious. And then before it's like, oh, he was also in Baywatch. Oh, and then right smack dab in the middle, it's Conan the Barbarian. And this was right before he got cast as Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones season 1, which kind of feels like the natural progression from Conan the Barbarian. So looking at the Jason Momoa career trajectory, he kind of feels like the perfect fit for Conan.
He kind of does. I'll be honest, it was a little bit weird to see him without a beard. At first, I went in, I knew it was him, but I had to do a little bit of a double take the first couple times that I saw him on screen. It is really interesting that this, and I had forgotten that this is right before Game of Thrones, which I think he did a pretty good job in. I think a lot of people would agree, and I think a lot of people think that's maybe where he broke out, but this is a very similar role and just maybe wasn't received as well.
Yes, no, he died well in that series, as did so many people die well in that series. All right, well, let's get into who is in this movie. The movie stars Jason Momoa, Rachel Nichols, Rose McGowan, Stephen Lang, Saeed Taghmaoui, Ron Perlman, and Leo Howard. There is, of course, an almost star, and as there's always going to be when you come to a property as well known as Conan the Barbarian. We start with the role of Corin, as played by Ron Perlman. This is Conan's father. Originally, it was offered to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, of course, played Conan the Barbarian in the original movies, but he turned it down. But also in talks or under consideration were Dolph Lundgren and Mickey Rourke. The three of those people, not bad choices at all.
No, I agree. And I like Ron Perlman. I think he's really great. He's a lot of fun. He's been in a bunch of things that I enjoy. But all three of those other names would have been, it would have been really cool to see Arnold, come back to play the father of his former character. That would have been great. But even like Dolph Lundgren too, that would have been insane.
But one has to remember, and yes, Schwarzenegger would have been like ideally a perfect choice, but it might have also seemed a little like glad handing to the fan base. It's like, oh, hey, guess who's playing the father now? So I kind of understand why Schwarzenegger kind of turned it down, but consider that and I think it was released around 2007, there was a Conan video game, and the voice of Conan was done by Ron Perlman.
Oh, was it really?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So when you consider
so everybody doing everything,
yeah, when you consider that Conan eventually went on to become his own father, it kind of tracks.
Yeah, the Arnold would have been good for nostalgia, but I think you're right. It might have been a little bit too. How you put it was pretty well put, but
yeah, yes, you have to kind of serve the fan base. You kind of have to service the fan base, but you don't need to go full fellatio on the fan base by casting Schwarzenegger into the role.
No, exactly.
But then in the role of Conan, listen to this list of actors who were either under consideration or actually read for the role. Kellen Lutz, Cody Deal, Daniel Cudamore, Jared Padalecki, Michael Worth, and Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth.
Wow. And this would have been, was this pre-Thor?
This is actually around Thor time, because remember, the first Thor film came out, if I remember correctly, in 2010.
I think you're right. And then he was pretty unknown at the time too, right? Like he and Tom Hiddleston were both.
Well, remember,
we're both pretty unknown.
prior to this, Chris Hemsworth also played the father of James Tiberius Kirk in the Star Trek reboot.
Yes, he did. I forgot about that. That was a good one.
But yeah, I think the thing is, had we had Chris Hemsworth as Thor, which wouldn't have been a bad choice, but then who goes on to play Thor?
Well, and he's almost like perfectly cast as Thor. And I mean, that's been developed by Marvel for the last decade or more now, obviously. But it's weird to imagine that could have been very different.
Yeah. There is some weird alternate timeline where Tom Hiddleston, who had actually read for the role of Thor and tried out to play Thor, actually got the role, and Chris Hemsworth ended up being Conan.
Oh, that would have been a weird time. It's funny to me. You said Jared Padalecki as well, who is obviously in the Supernatural series, and I think that would have been interestingly strange. I would like to see that. Just, I mean, I've seen the show, and it's not in its entirety, but I've seen quite a bit of it, and it's good. But he's one of those actors who's played a role for so long. If you see him in something else, it's weird. So it's something I would have wanted to see, but I don't know how good it would have been.
The movie was directed by Marcus Nispel, perhaps most famous for directing remakes or reboots of, and listen to this list here, these are all remakes and reboots that he has directed: The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Frankenstein, and Friday the 13th. It's like, if you're looking, I guess, to revive a series, this is the guy you call.
Mm-hmm.
But consider, though, there is an almost directed by. Francis Lawrence was considered, as was Robert Rodriguez and Brett Ratner. Yeah, I'm fascinated with the idea of Robert Rodriguez directing a Conan the Barbarian film.
That would have been, that would have been something.
Like,
hey.
Keep in mind, too, if I remember correctly, it was around this time that Robert Rodriguez was getting ready to do Grindhouse. I think he'd kill a Conan the Barbarian film. I think he would be absolutely fantastic directing that. Now I want to see that.
Mm-hmm. We'll go back and get him to do one now with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say yes. Let's enter that alternate timeline.
Yeah. This
film had a budget of $90 million. Domestically, though, it only made $21 million, and worldwide only made $63 million. When it was released on the August 19th, 2011 weekend, it debuted at number 4. The highest grossing debut that week was at number 3, also directed by Robert Rodriguez. Spy Kids 4, All the Time in the World, with $11.6 million. Conan only made $10 million. The number 1 film that week was the second week of The Help, which made $20 million. And in number 2 was the third week of Rise of the Planet of the Apes with $16 million. There were 2 other debuts that week in fairly wide release. At number 6, Fright Night debuted with $7.7 million, also another remake. And at number 9 was One Day, which debuted with $5 million. However, there are some accolades for this film, and it's in the good category. At the 2012 Saturn Awards, it was nominated for Best Makeup, but lost to X-Men First Class, and I don't hate that call.
Yeah, no, I mean, X-Men First Class had some like full body makeup going on there, so I think that's probably the right choice.
But the reason why we are here, and not because we just like to talk about Jason Momoa films, are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a tomatometer of 25% and a popcorn meter of only 30. At IMDb, it sits at 5.2 stars out of 10 for a 52% score. Over at Metacritic, the film has a Metascore of 36. At Letterboxd, it sits at 2.2 stars out of 5 for a 44% score, and at the Movie Database, it sits at 53%, giving this film the aggravated aggregate of 40%. Now, Matt, the range here sits at 25% on the low end, 53% on the high end. Is this film in that range?
I think it is, and I think I can understand the range from a couple different angles. I think it's one of those like franchises or one of those properties that if you really care about the originals, if you care about the lore and you watch that movie, it's not gonna, I think fans of it aren't gonna like it so much. But if you look at it, whether you're aware of the lore and the backstory or not, but you look at it more of just kind of a fun kind of slash action fantasy film, it's kind of fun, and I can see people giving it, I'll say a 5 out of 10, 4.5 out of 10. So I think from different perspectives, I can see it falling, in that 25 to 50% range.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily make an argument for this around that 50% mark because there are good aspects to this film. I also understand why it would probably still at the end of the day be a college fail, and we're going to get into that as we get into the breakdown.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao, a new kind of flavored sparkling water. The kind made with real fruit juice, a pinch of Sicilian salt, and the sparkle of the Italian sun. With no added sugar and just 10 or less calories per can, enjoy. With love, from Italy. By San Pellegrino Ciao now.
We start, of course, with Jason Momoa, who plays Conan the Barbarian. And we've talked about him. Almost like the perfect choice from a physical and visual perspective, like he was made to play Conan.
No, absolutely. I mean, he looks the part. And I mean, the guy that goes on to play a barbarian type in Game of Thrones and, and then, to superheroes and other things. But no, he absolutely looks like a fantasy barbarian. Yeah.
I think the thing I like about this is that they didn't take Conan and just turn him into some like monosyllabic idiot, right? He's not grunting and growling his way through everything like some feral animal. He is eloquent to a point, right? Yes, he is a barbarian. We get it. We understand this part. But you take a look at the way that Ron Perlman played Corin, and it leads into the man that Conan would become. Conan is a hero. He's an absolute hero you take a look at the catalog of material that is in the fictional world of Conan, right? From comic books to novels to everything that we've seen before. Conan is this barbaric, yes, but still hero. He's still the good guy. And this film also doesn't shy away from the fact that it's an R rating. They leaned into this in a way that the Schwarzenegger film didn't in the 80s.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the opening scene with the describing him as Battleborn literally has Ron Perlman cutting his wife's stomach open in the middle of a fight. And I mean, they didn't shy away from that at all.
No, they also didn't shy away from bad CGI, but I digress on that part. I digress. But no,
point, yeah.
And they built him up. They built him up because Leo Howard, who played young Conan, and by the way, if the name Leo Howard is familiar, it's because we covered G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, where Leo Howard actually played young Snake Eyes. Now he gets to play young Conan. They built up the character of Conan so well. I love what Leo Howard did as young Conan because he's a little bit, I don't want to say feral, but he is definitely more on the barbarian side of things. So we actually get to see this fascinating character development of young Conan and then having to witness his father commit like this heroic act of self-immolation. And then Conan lives with that. And then he finally stumbles upon the people who were the cause of his father's death. By the way, spoilers like a mofo here, if you haven't figured this out already. Like, I love the fact that we got that early look at Conan, and it helps define the rage and the determination that older adult Conan feels.
I agree. And I like that it was more than just a quick, 30-second, kind of montage of him growing up, right? It was an actual scene. And I understand it was important to the story as well, but there was also, like, it gave an emotional connection to the character too, and kind of an emotional drive that the audience could connect with later on in the movie.
Yeah, I am so happy that we got to see this evolution, because again, young Conan is not just a wild barbarian child, right? He is brutal, he is ruthless and cunning. Like, the fact that he was able to fight his way out of being swarmed by these, I don't even know what kind of characters you would call them, but like much more feral kind of people. And the fact that he still had that egg in his mouth to prove that he was, good enough to run with the warriors. Like, I love the development that they gave Conan in this.
Mm-hmm. Agree. I enjoyed the fact that they had the warriors fighting each other as well before that. It's, they're all the same kind of barbarian tribe, and technically, living and working together, but they're all still somewhat fighting each other for these roles. And I like that inclusion as well.
Rachel Nichols, who played Tamara, this is she's a member of the bloodline of Asheronian necromancers, which is why they keep on referring to her as a pure blood. So it's basically her blood that is needed in order to be able to imbue this mask with whatever powers that make it look like a freaking tentacle-y octopus kind of thing that they're going to put on the dude's face. But your thoughts on Rachel Nichols? And by the way, if the name Rachel Nichols seems familiar, it's because we talked about her in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, because she played Scarlet in that film. I loved her in that film. I want to hear your thoughts on her in Tamara.
I liked her as well. I think she played it pretty well. She wasn't, she was a nice balance of, kind of being, she didn't know why, they were chasing her. She didn't know why Conan wanted her, but she also, and I thought she was a nice balanced character. It took me more than a minute though to figure out that pure blood was related to her bloodline though, and that's. They didn't really describe it right away, and for the longest time, I was convinced that they were looking for like a virgin, and it was a little bit of a surprise to me later in the movie when they revealed that's not what was going on. But I think she played the part quite well.
Yeah, they're talking about a pure blood, and you're sitting there going, "Yeah, but she just got with Conan." Like that
confused me.
That girl ain't pure no more. But no, it's because she is part of the bloodline of the Asheronian necromancers. I like Rachel Nichols as an actor. I really do. I thought she was fantastic in Continuum. I love that show. I think it's a great show. I loved her in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. I'm not a fan of her character in this. And I think part of the problem is that at no point is Tamara afraid. Like, I understand that she feels safe around Conan, and that's okay. But she doesn't know why these people are coming after her. She doesn't know why she's being told to run away. She doesn't know the importance of who she is and what she is. And yet at no point does Tamara act like things are about to go south. She's being hung upside down while Lady Freddy Krueger is like scratching the blood out of her. And it's like, I'm just going to sit here and stare straight into the lower or the middle third there. No, Tamara should be freaked the out by everything that is going on. And yet we don't get that performance out of Tamara. We don't get almost a realism out of Tamara. And maybe it's because everyone in this Hyborian era is supposed to be tough as nails. It just made her too... I don't want to say Tamara was too strong, but Tamara was too okay with all the crap that was going on around her.
Well, it's a good point because even if you're talking about the people of Hyboria supposedly, being tough and used to that kind of thing, she's also from an isolated. It was like they isolated kind of convent, and it would make more sense that she'd be a little bit less used to the brutality as well. So it's a good point.
Yeah. Take a look at every other single girl in this weird cult-like kind of monastery that they're all staying at. And now I'm even okay with her knowing how to fight because it's an age of barbarianism. It's an age of conflict. I understand that part, but nothing that we've seen of her beforehand would lead me to believe that she'd be able to take this as commonplace as it feels like out of her performance.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You might have sold me on that one.
Yeah, but that's got to come down to the director too, right? I understand you don't want to have a character that's just literally screaming through the whole damn thing because then it'd be like, I'd run out of the theater, right? Rachel Nichols is a great actor. Give her direction to cook with. Let her create Tamara to be a bit more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Rose McGowan, who played Marique, the makeup department did not like her forehead, but go on with Marique.
Well, I mean, her forehead was massive, and that's like that and the what you just said, like the Freddy Krueger ladyfingers were. I mean, they definitely stood out. They made her stand out. I mean, if they were going for creepy, which I think they nailed it. I mean, she did a good job with kind of the raspy voice too, which I kind of liked. And I didn't really know the background of her character, like I said before. But again, if they were going for creepy witch lady, I think they did an all right job there.
Yeah, and I think, and this comes from something that Rose McGowan actually put into the character. She wanted to imbue Marique with this what's called the Electra complex. So basically, it's almost like this insatiable competitive need to basically compete with her own mother for the affection of the father. That's the Electra complex. And we got a little bit of that out of Marique. Like there were some scenes where like, you are creepy AF. But Rose McGowan gave us a bit of a, for lack of a better term, a Saturday morning cartoon kind of villain, right? It's very much that kind of playing to the audience kind of thing. And every move is very stage villain. She's a stage villain in this. I do want to point out Ivana Staneva. So this is the girl that played young Marique. I thought Ivana Staneva was actually the better Marique than Rose McGowan had.
I actually agree with you on that. I mean, they did a lot less to make her obviously look creepy, right? I mean, she did a good job of portraying kind of a creepy, and she was supposed to be, obviously much younger, but she did a really good job of portraying kind of that more like a horror film creepy, as opposed to like you put it a Saturday morning cartoon creepy.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing too. You have a film that went into that R rating, like with the amount of bloodshed and decapitation and everything else that was going on in this film, and like whacking horses in the face with giant chains. By the way, no horses were harmed in the making of this film. I get it, right? Lean into this, right? Let's make Marique a bit more sadistic and less creepy. I understand too, she clearly is a bit more mystical as well. Let's lean into that a little bit. Like they treat Marique at this almost surface level. And I like that Rose McGowan put something into that beyond surface level. But I think from what the editors and the director got out of this, we only got a surface level cartoonish kind of villain.
Mm-hmm. One that's mainly remembered for long, creepy silver fingernails.
Exactly. Marique comes across as more style over substance when I think that we could have had more substance beyond that.
Yeah, I agree.
Stephen Lang, who played Kalar Zim. So this is the main bad guy, the father of Marique, who's looking to gather all these pieces of this Asheronian mask that apparently imbues power into whoever wears it. And killing Conan's tribe, his father and all that, this is the last piece. Finally puts the mask together. I want to hear your thoughts on Kalar Zim before I need a Snickers bar.
I think, I mean, I didn't mind him as a villain that I was obviously the villain. You don't take him too seriously, but at the same time, I think he brought a little bit more of a mature villainy to the role than maybe some of the other quote unquote bad guys in the movie. So I think he did an all right job. I think he did a decent job being kind of creepy as well as his daughter was, but it was never, to me, I mean, they talked about him as this big, almost, deity like villain, and I never really saw that. Like, he one-on-one with Conan at one point, and they got away, but there was never anything overwhelmingly impressive to me.
Okay, I'm glad that's how you portray this. So bear with me here, and dear listeners, just know that when I edit these shows, I put a hard limiter on because there are times when I need to get things off my chest and I don't want to blow your ears out. So just know I edit for your ears. So, builds the mask. This is the source of power. This is what's going to make him a god, right? And the mask is even, squirming its little arms there once it's all together. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to put it on my face and all that. And then they do nothing with it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the most ineffectual MacGuffin in the history of cinematic MacGuffins. This is more of a letdown than Geraldo opening Al Capone's vault. This led to nothing. Show me that he's going to become a god. Show me that he can go toe to toe with Conan, because otherwise it's some big muscle-bound idiot beating down a geriatric guy in a Halloween mask. This led to nothing. I do appreciate
it. Almost led to his wife coming, like taking over I'm blanking on her name right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Rachel Nichols becoming the wife who was also apparently just as creepy as Marique. So I understand that. I get it. But the whole thing is that he, like, I think Conan would have even understood, like, oh, you wanted your wife back. You put the mask on. It's okay. I get it. Get your wife back. Take the mask off. We're all good. No. This is the most anticlimactic climax in a Conan movie. I don't mean to be mad, but holy crap. The villain is supposed to be the best part of the film. And I'll give Rose McGowan this. Marique came across as very villain-esque. Kalar Zim?
Not so much.
I wish I didn't care about movies so much, but holy crap, I care about movies so much that these things actually anger me.
When I think they set him up in the beginning as I thought he was going to be a much more villainy villain that he turned into, right? It was in the beginning with young Conan and the whole molten lava on Ron Perlman's face. I'm thinking, okay, look, this guy means business, and then like he said, nothing happens when he actually gets what he wants.
Yeah, the first half of this film and Stephen Lang is fantastic. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree with you. Like, it's almost like this, like, kingly level kind of villain where, like, and he's assembled all, like, his little horde of people that we don't give a damn about because they're barely on screen for any amount of time. They all look like they're from different tribes. So he is clearly consolidated power behind him because he's going to put together the Asheronian mask that's going to give him all the power. And then it goes nowhere. Ugh. I understand you have a pretty damn good Conan, but you have way lackluster villains. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, this is a boring video game kind of movie. Like, you just go through different little boss levels until you get to the end, and it's the most anticlimactic end that you could possibly think of.
Well, if it was a video game, I think most people would ask for a refund. Like the end, the big boss at the end was nothing.
Yeah, this is like the reverse Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it.
Natsuo Nosey, who played Artis, this is Conan's friend that helped him along a little bit, then disappeared the out of wherever. I don't want to hate this film. I really don't want to hate this film, and I'm trying not to. But Artis, played by Natsuo Nosey. Your thoughts?
I mean, I liked him because he was a likable character and kind of comic reliefy, but I mean, he didn't do a whole lot. He was just he was there as, very, very basically explained, like later into even seeing him that he's been around, Conan's been around him for a while. So he's your kind of stereotype sidekick companion who is assumed to have been, Conan's friend and, done some adventures, but that's never really explained. And then, yeah, like he says, he disappears for most of the time and shows up on a ship when they need to jump off a cliff at one point. I think that happens twice. He shows up on a ship and just kind of, oh yeah, come back to the boat. I remember that I'm in this movie. I like the actor. I do like the actor. But I don't know. It was just to me, kind of the stereotype buddy comic relief kind of character.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is this. Like, I take a look at this character, and instantly he reminds me of Morgan Freeman in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, when he played Azim next to Robin Hood. I love what he brought to this role. I thought in the limited amount of screen time that he was on, I love the character that he built, because more so, not because he was, it was fun, right? But he still did the job that he needed to do. He humanized Conan. Artis humanizes Conan. So Conan is not just a grunty monosyllabic idiot. They built Conan with an interesting, almost support network, but then they don't really tap into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't do much after that, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like Hyborian Uber driver. I'm going to get you to here, and then that's going to be it. Like, I understand that we lose sight of Artis for a bit when Conan discovers, like, there's the guy with no nose, and he's going to use him to find out how to get all the people that killed his father. So he's like, he goes up to him and is like, I'm your prisoner. That makes sense that we don't see Artis for a bit. I get that. And I like the on-screen chemistry between Jason Momoa and Natsuo Nosey. And I apologize if I messed up any of these names, but remember, I'm an idiot in a basement and a microphone who's still pissed off that they did nothing with the big mask. I wanted to see more of him because I think that would have added something to the film rather than have all these other characters try to make quips that it just doesn't work.
No, I agree. And like I said, I liked him. I like the actor, like I said, and I liked his character, but yeah, there wasn't very much of him.
Yeah.
And not really enough to build a story on, other than giving Conan some backstory and humanizing him, as you said.
Saytag Maui, who played Elishan. So this is another A. This is someone that Conan saved early on in the film, and then eventually he kind of he checks off that little favor and gets Elishan to guide him to where he can find the bad guys who are doing nothing. And if the name Saytag Maui sounds familiar, that's because we talked about him in G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, because he played Breaker in that film, and I freaking loved him in that film. He was great. He was fun. How was Elishan in this for you?
So, I mean, it's kind of going to be similar. I like the actor, and I think he does a pretty good job in the role that he was given, but it kind of made me laugh immediately the first time I saw him, because he was the stereotypical French safecracker or lockpicker or whatever. And as soon as I saw that happen, I laughed out loud. Not to any detriment to him. I think the role that he played, he was kind of that kind of nervous, jumpy, kind of character, and I think he did it pretty well. But again, his use in the film to me felt very step-by-step adventure. Right? You kind of, Conan ran into him, saved his life, he owes him a favor. Now he, does something else and he needs a favor, and he goes to find him again. So I wanted to like him. I mean, I liked him, but I wanted to like his use in the film a lot more. But then as soon as he had completed the favor, he ran away again. So I think they could have used him more if they had used the three of them more in this kind of trio or triumvirate of heroes, where I think that could have been a more effective use of the characters.
I love the fact that you put in that stereotypical safecracker, and instantly my thought is Tomer Capone, who plays Frenchie in The Boys, and it's like, yep, no, it's a trope.
It's exactly where my mind went. Right as soon as I heard the voice, I went, is it the same guy?
But no, it's not. It's Sagtag Maui. And again, unlike Not So Nausea, I think they had the right amount of Elishan in this, right? Conan rescues him. We spend a little time apart, and then Conan comes back in and calls his favor in, gets that marker all set up, and Elishan gets him to where he needs to go. And as Elishan should, pisses off as soon as they get to the real trouble. It's like, you're on your own on this one, Conan. And that's actually in character, I feel like.
Which I definitely can see. I think I wanted to see more of him because I think I liked him. But I think you're right. The character in that situation would be doing exactly that, and he didn't want to stick around for the big grand danger. He was smart, right? He paid his debt and he got out of there. But I just personally would have liked to see a little bit more of him because I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Conan's the kind of character who's going to build an army to go against something, because I mean, the idea of Conan the Barbarian is that he can kind of take care of it all by himself, and I'm fine with that. And you got Jason Momoa, and he can definitely take care of that. But if you're going to introduce these characters, and again, I think Elishan is used in the exact amount that needs to be done. But if you're going to introduce a character like Artis, give me more Artis. Let's humanize Conan. Let's build some depth to it. And then we get to Dad, Corin, played by Mr. Ron Perlman, who may be the perfect choice for this role. Your thoughts on him?
I really liked him. And I mean, I really like Ron Perlman as well. But I think he did a really good job of, teaching the character of young Conan kind of how to be and how to grow up, but also showing the audience that it was more that the family of this father-son dynamic was more than just grunt, stab.
Yeah.
Right. He was a fair father. He gave Conan chores. And then when the other warriors rushed off to do their, gauntlet with the egg, you think for a minute he's going to dismiss Conan, but he lets him go anyways. So he wants to see his son succeed, and then he obviously cares about him in the scene where he ultimately ends up dying. So I really liked him. I thought he played it well, and Ron Perlman. The big beard on Ron Perlman was a little bit weird to see at first, but he's great.
Maybe Dolph Lundgren could have rocked that beard, but maybe no one better than Ron Perlman. But I mean, here's the thing: the Cimmerians are, basically, because of what they are, a barbarian tribe. Right? They're called barbarians. But yet, Corin is presented with a nobility. There's an educated level to this. And again, at no point are any, there were the weird feral things that young Conan had beheaded a bunch to protect himself. And yeah, they were kind of grunt, roar, roar, but they're to be dispatched. Corin is eloquent. Corin is noble. Corin is exactly the kind of figure you want Conan to actually look up to and learn from, even in that short amount of time. Has such a good movie death. Such a good movie death. Like that whole, Conan has to hold the chain that it's actually burning his hand as he's holding it. And if he lets go, then the molten lava is going to fall onto Corin. So Conan realizes that no matter what he does, he could burn himself and permanently damage his hands, but then it's Corin who takes the decision out of him. I love that self-sacrifice moment, and even though the CGI is meh on it as the molten metal kind of hits his head and kind of disintegrates, his head kind of collapses into him, which I don't know. I don't know what it looks like when lava gets poured on someone's head. I haven't done that this week, but it's one of those things. Not yet. It's only Wednesday, but still, it's one of those things where that noble sacrificial death. Sometimes you need a character to just die to develop the character that you need to follow. Corin's death helped set up Conan for what was to come. I think it was a fantastic casting for the role.
I agree. And I think he captured the emotion of it as well, right? It made you care about, him and young Conan and what the story was going to be about. And I think films, especially fantasy films, don't always get that. They don't always get that right. But I think they really made you care about what was going on in the story and kind of get that emotion right as well.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
I remember watching this movie in the theaters, and it was a 3D film. And this is when 3D, like everything was 3D, and you went in and you got the glasses that you prayed that they sanitized before you actually put them on your face, and that's okay. But I remember this is the one time being in the theater, and I'm like, this 3D sucks. And I get it, it's 2011. But we recently did an episode on Clash of the Titans, the remake of that, and the 3D in that was pretty darn good, even though the director wasn't happy with it at the time. This one, there are scenes in this film where the filming just looks bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really caught on to the whole go see movies in 3D. I saw a couple of them. I think I saw Alice in Wonderland in 3D when I was younger. That was a weird one to see. Mm-hmm. But I think, I don't know if I would have enjoyed this one in 3D. I think maybe a couple things could have been cool, but it wouldn't have been my choice if I had the option.
Yeah, I mean, one scene really stands out as I'm watching this is the scene near the end where Conan and Tamara are riding these horses in front of what clearly looks like a bad matte screen, green screen kind of thing, and I'm just like, oh my god, like you're clearly in a studio and it looks so bad. Like the location shooting is actually really good in this. It is. But some of the CGI in this, some of the visual effects, and definitely this film did not need 3D.
No, I don't think so. I think that's a little bit. It feels like putting it in 3D is going a little bit too much, trying a little bit too hard. I think it was fine in 2D.
Yeah, it's like watching the Carl Urban Dread film. Yes, there are scenes that are clearly made for 3D. Like the entire effect of the drug in that film is designed for this weird 3D effect. And I remember seeing that one in the theater too. And the 3D in that was pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But I don't need to see a Dread film, that feels like the Raid Redemption in 3D. This didn't need it.
Well, I feel like that's the main idea behind why I never really leaned into the 3D. I think a lot of films tried it that didn't need to try it or probably shouldn't have tried it. And it kind of turned me off of it. I've seen a few, but not as many.
I mean, yes. Did Avatar look good in 3D? Yeah, you're damn right it did, because that's James Cameron, right? Sure, yeah, and there was another movie that came in around that time. It was The Legends of Ga'Hoole, and like all these owls that are flying around and whatnot. And that film, I remember that trailer in 3D, and it looked fantastic. I never went to actually go see it because I don't care about the owls, but it's one of those things where this film the trailer looked fantastic in the theaters, just never actually watched the film. This is Conan the Barbarian. I need big, strong guy with a sword chopping up people, and I don't need it in 3D. That's it. Like, I don't care if things are 3D. And I think the 3D train, and I think we've all agreed, the 3D train has definitely had its day and then passed its day.
Yeah, pretty quickly too, I would say. It came and went, peaked fast, and then died pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't see anyone. I mean, yes, there are still IMAX 3D screens that are out there. And you know what? If the movie is good enough to be in 3D, and there are some fantastic sci-fi films and superhero films that are going to look great in 3D, and you know, it is 2025. This is 14 years ago that we're talking about Conan the Barbarian. Technology has changed, filming techniques have changed, so obviously it's gotten better. It's all good, but pick your spots.
Yeah, you don't try too hard. You don't need to needlessly try to get people, because people aren't going for 3D anymore.
So I'm going to ask you this before we get to our MVPs. How familiar with you overall of the Conan the Barbarian character were you? And after watching this film, does this make you actually want to dive into the mythology of Conan the Barbarian more?
So that's a great question, because I wasn't very familiar at all. I mean, I'd seen, bits and pieces in pop culture and being alive for 30 some years, but I'd never really seen any of it, or dove into it at all. But it did interest me enough, and I like this kind of genre, like Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, Witcher, that kind of sword and shield fantasy. So no, it definitely does interest me to go and dive in and look at watch some of the other films and read some of the lore. But no, I didn't go in knowing very much at all.
Okay. Now that you've mentioned that, now I know what kind of movies I'm going to throw at you next. You've signed your own death warrant there, sir.
Oh, looking forward to it.
He says with gritted teeth and, a restraining order.
Yeah. It's going to go so poorly.
All right, it's time. Matt, who is your MVP of 2011's Conan the Barbarian?
So for a long time, I wanted to say Ron Perlman because he's great, as we talked about. But I think I got to give it to somebody who we haven't mentioned, who I had to double take to make sure is actually in this film. But Morgan Freeman was the narrator. And I love that. He showed up as the narrator. He never showed up at all in the movie, but it's Morgan Freeman. His voice is incredible. So I have to give it to Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I get that Morgan Freeman has a fantastic voice. I do. There are other people who can actually narrate things, Like, it doesn't have to be Morgan Freeman all the frickin' time.
I think there was a point in time when people thought it had to be, though. Just because of who he was, and I think it's kind of funny that he's in it. And he's never shown, but he's iconic.
Yeah, I don't know the number of films that Morgan Freeman has actually narrated. I'm just doing a quick search here, and like I see one list that has like 33 things, but not all of them are movies. It's one of those things where Morgan Freeman is one of the most iconic voices of all cinema. But I mean, there's money you didn't need to spend, right? I mean, yes, you could have also gone for James Earl Jones. Yes, you could have gone for Keith David, whose voice I think is fantastic. But you're right, Morgan Freeman is definitely, if you're going to put someone's voice in there, not a bad choice.
I mean, I think it would have made a little more sense. Like, I kind of like when narrators show up in the movie later. So maybe one of the companions or some other character turned out to be the narrator. But I understand why they would go with Morgan Freeman because of who he is and who he was at the time, too. Right back in 2011.
Yeah, and then the funny thing too is that it's not even like he was involved in the Conan franchise at all. He wasn't in Conan the Barbarian. He wasn't in Conan the Destroyer. So maybe that's where you could have gotten some kind of actor from those original films to come in and drop a voice, because that would be good. That would be that subtle level of some kind of casting where you can have a callback. And as I mentioned this, when we're talking about iconic voices, James Earl Jones was in the 1982 Conan the Barbarian film. Why didn't you get him?
That would have been perfect, right? Again, that's subtle callback, like you mentioned, a little more subtle than casting Arnold as Conan's father in this one, but that would have been great,
right? He was still around at that point. Give him a call. He only passed away last year. Oy. Missed opportunity. I like the pick. It's not my pick. And I, too, also thought about Ron Perlman. But I don't think he was in enough of this film to be, handed the MVP of the whole damn thing. So I'm actually going to go with Jason Momoa. I mean, think about it. Here he is being tasked to replicate a role done by Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger, who was actually really good in the role in the 80s. And yet he came in, he owned the role, he was the part. And in a film where the villains are lackluster, the hero stands tall. Jason Momoa, absolutely the MVP. And I feel bad too, because I like Rachel Nichols. I was hoping that she was going to be better in this, but it's not that she wasn't good. The character wasn't well written.
Yeah, and actors often get flack for that too, which is often undeserved, right? Especially if they're good actors who just get bad writing or badly developed characters.
Exactly. Matt, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners where they can find you out there, the interwebs, and what you've been up to lately.
Absolutely. Well, they can find me on Instagram at matt.larter. That's Larter. I'm hopefully going to start adding a bunch of my own stuff. So start a YouTube channel hopefully pretty soon as well. So they'll be able to find me there in a little bit. But that's where I am right now.
All right. Well, when you do get that channel started up, come on back on the show. I'll throw a horrible movie at you and we'll promote that channel. Dude, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there's a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned, or there is no way in a squiggly arm mask that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast, or go to our website at NotThatBadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our merch section, because we got lots of stuff for all of our shows that you can purchase and help support the show. Until next time, he's Matt. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.